Hello, and welcome to our virtual event, The Future of VMware Is in Azure. I'm Liam Cinski, a Senior Product Marketing Manager for VMware Migration here at Microsoft. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're wondering what to do with your VMware workloads running on premises, or if you're running VMware workloads on another cloud, you're in the right place. Let's take a quick look at what we'll cover in the next hour. We'll begin with addressing what's top of mind for many, which is how to continue running your VMware workloads going forward. Then we'll explore the migration options available in Azure and recommend a fast path to the cloud where you can lock in pricing. Today, we're excited to introduce new programs and offers that make migrating more advantageous than ever. Best yet, you'll hear from a customer who has recently migrated. They will discuss their experience, success factors, and offer valuable advice. We'll conclude with hybrid cloud strategies for workloads that must remain on premises before diving into our breakout sessions. The breakout sessions will cover detailed technical aspects of migrating VMware workloads to Azure, as well as networking configurations, business continuity plans, and integration with Azure's extensive portfolio of over 200 plus Azure services. Without further delay, I'm thrilled to introduce Brett Tanzer, Vice President of Azure Solutions and Ecosystem here at Microsoft.
Thanks, Liam, for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here today. Over the last year, we've seen an unprecedented interest in Azure VMware Solutions from customers across all industries and of all sizes. Customers looking to accelerate their migration journey to the cloud because they need to reduce the costs of on-premises installations, exit data centers, or just accelerate the pace of innovation, and AVS is a great solution for that. I've been working with VMware, now Broadcom, since 2019. We work with them every day. And as I've talked about in the past in some of our blog posts, our commitment to this partnership is really unwavering. We continue to make AVS the best VMware solution in the public cloud. We've just announced support for license portability. We're offering price protection for up to 5 years. We're working on key investments in the product that'll make it easier for you to take advantage of AVS as the next stop on your cloud journey. So let's dive in, explore, and get excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you for being here with us today on this journey. Over the past 25 years, many organizations have built their IT foundation around VMware on-premises. As customers began moving and modernizing their infrastructure to the cloud, it became really clear that having a solution for VMware in the cloud was going to be necessary to ensure customers could take advantage of that without any friction. So VMware launched services like VMware Cloud on AWS, and then at Microsoft, we launched VMware Solutions so customers who wanted to use VMware in Azure would have a great long-term home for these solutions in our cloud. Broadcom's recent acquisition of VMware in 2023 signaled a new phase in VMware's journey, and we're really excited about taking VCF, hybrid, and helping customers modernize their VMware estates around all of these solutions. Like many businesses today, you might be reassessing the optimal environment for your VMware workloads, weighing the pros and cons of on-premises versus cloud-based solutions. When I talk to customers, several key questions arise. How can I ensure I remain agile in responding to the changing business environment? How does Azure ensure I maintain the necessary levels of security and compliance and resiliency? Do your developers have access to cutting-edge tools for innovation, especially those that offer proximity to the latest data and AI services? Have you automated your environment to maximize efficiency and free up your team for other strategic initiatives? So whatever path you choose, it will take time and resources to get there, but Azure VMware Solutions is a really great way to get started. This is a chance to think about your long-term platform strategy so you spend your resources wisely. You reduce your technical debt while you set yourself up for success in the future. Today, I suggest that you move to a cloud platform that's future-proof. And more specifically, I'll be sharing why Azure is the best place for your VMware workloads. Most customers are looking to accelerate their migration to gain efficiency and enable organizations to innovate faster. Moving to the cloud can be fast or slow depending upon your organization's ability to implement it and absorb the change. Most organizations we see are taking a phased approach, since many of them have invested significantly in on-premises environments and they have people in their organizations who know VMware skills. With the change to a subscription-based model, some businesses are wondering about the significant price changes that they've received. Customers are concerned about long-term viability of their investments in VMware given the above factors. Now, Broadcom is working really hard to reassure them, but with Azure VMware Solution in Azure, many of these concerns just fall away. We offer long-term pricing options for Azure VMware Solutions and bring your own license options for the hybrid customer base. An investment in learning AVS is one that leverages all of your existing VMware knowledge and accelerates the knowledge your team builds of Azure. We have a host of hybrid management options from both Microsoft and VMware that make it easy for you to ensure quality and efficiency across a hybrid enterprise. And Microsoft will continue to ensure the resilience and reliability of all your VMware environments we manage on your behalf. With all the focus on innovation, we're providing deep integration and access to some of the best large language models, data tools, and migration capabilities available in the public cloud today. So for many, moving to AVS now is just simply a no-brainer. Choosing to migrate to Azure VMware Solution and leveraging our programs and offers is really a strategic move that can significantly benefit your business. Once you move to Azure, you unlock access to a portfolio of 200 different Azure services. Azure VMware Solution eliminates routine maintenance and minimizes administrative tasks, and this strategic shift allows your IT teams to redirect their focus towards initiatives that directly contribute to business innovation and growth. The impact of these advantages have been validated in a total economic impact study by Forrester, and they've been re-emphasized by customers time and time again. Now, let's discuss the journey for your VMware workloads to the cloud. We understand that transitioning from a data center to the cloud can seem daunting. That's why Azure offers products designed to really simplify this process and minimize the need for extensive refactoring until you're ready. Azure offers products designed to simplify transitioning VMware workloads from a data center to the cloud, minimizing your need to refactor until you're ready. After migrating to the cloud, Azure offers a secure and predictable pricing for up to 5 years, so you know that your costs are stable. This allows you to continue to run your VMware workloads as is while planning for the future at your own pace. Azure's proximity to over 200 services make it easy to modernize, take advantage of cloud competencies, and accelerate innovation within your business. Migrating to Azure not only solves immediate challenges, but it also positions your organization for enhanced performance and future success. Customers like Hastings Direct made the change because it was the best way to serve their 4 million plus customers. They boosted application performance by over 1.5 times with Azure. It enabled them to adjust customer quotes 4 to 5 times faster and gain an advantage in the overall market. According to Hastings, they wouldn't have been able to move their business without Azure VMware Solution. And now they're primed for further innovation because they can now integrate their vSphere workloads with Azure's AI portfolio of cloud-native services. Azure offers a wide range of services for modern applications. Azure Dedicated Solutions are your dedicated space inside Azure, and that enables platforms like VMware, SAP HANA, NetApp, Red Hat NX Enterprise to run seamlessly in the clouds. Together, this supports diverse applications in a consumption-based model, enabling you to scale your applications according to your business needs and move them at your pace. In essence, Azure plus Azure Dedicated really makes the cloud for you and gives you a lot of choice. So what are the migration destinations for your VMware workloads in Azure? The fastest path to the cloud is the direct migration of your vSphere workloads to Azure VMware Solution. This enables you to move them as is. This is a first-party service, and it mirrors the VMware technology in the cloud, simplifying the transition and giving you a monthly subscription model that includes all the VMware licenses and bundles them with the Azure compute costs. It's an attractive option for those with existing VMware expertise and those needing to develop cloud skills. It requires no application refactoring. It's as simple as that. You just lift them, shift them, and they're ready to run, often without any interruption that your downstream customers notice. For those who are able to modernize now, Azure's native IaaS infrastructure or PaaS services present a transformative opportunity, eliminating the need to retain your VMware's licenses and embracing the cloud's native advantage. This could mean things like converting your VDI environment to Azure Virtual Desktop or transitioning databases to run on Azure SQL database environment that gives you fully managed services. Lots of options for you there. We suggest moving your VMware workloads to Azure VMware Solutions, and here's why. Azure VMware Solutions allows you to migrate your VMware workloads as is with minimal refactoring, ensuring a smooth transition without having to modify your applications at all. Microsoft and VMware support license portability, allowing you to bring existing licenses to Azure. While migrating, you can continue to leverage your existing VMware expertise. Simultaneously, your team will gain valuable Azure skills, providing a dual benefit. Azure VMware Solutions offers price protection through reserved instances with the terms of 1, 3, or 5 years. Licenses for vSphere, vSphan, NSX, HCX are included. After 5 years, you can repurchase reserved instances or explore modernization to IaaS or Azure PaaS solutions. Azure VMware Solution is a Microsoft service certified by VMware that provides a VMware-consistent environment within Azure. It allows you to seamlessly move your VMware-based workloads from your data center to Azure, integrating your VMware environment without any disruption. AVS combines the familiarity of VMware technology with the flexibility and scalability of the cloud, offering an optimized, cost-effective solution. As you transition to Azure, AVS offers optimized licensing costs with Azure Hybrid benefit for Windows and SQL Server, and also includes free extended security updates for end-of-life Windows Server and SQL Server workloads. AVS is not just about migration, it's about transformation. AVS provides a high-performing platform that increases workload performance and availability. It opens the door to application modernization, allowing you to gradually integrate your VMware vSphere applications into Azure's native management, security, and services. This means you can start leveraging the advanced capabilities at Azure at your own pace and receive value after migrating just the first workload. Azure VMware Solution is built on the foundational principle of symmetry, mirroring on-premises VMware within Azure. With AVS, you gain access to private clouds powered by a dedicated infrastructure purpose-built for Azure VMware Solution. Each private cloud is equipped with vCenter Server, vSAN, vSphere, and NSX, assuring a familiar and robust environment for your workloads. This allows for a smooth migration of workloads and the deployment of new VMs, just as you would on premises. Connecting your existing infrastructure to Azure is made very easy with ExpressRoute Global Reach, bridging your on-premise environment and your AVS private cloud and enabling you to use stretched networks across your on-premise or cloud environment. Let's talk about how VMware Solution turns the tide on traditional IT operations. AVS is a managed solution that takes the heavy lifting off your IT team's shoulders. It's not about running workloads in the cloud, it's about freeing up your team's focus on really what truly matters. On premises, your team juggles management, operating systems, hypervisors, storage solutions, not to mention the physical aspects like cooling, power, space planning, and each layer adds complexity and demands attention. But with AVS, these layers are all managed for you by Microsoft. Azure's infrastructure expertise means you no longer need to worry about the nitty-gritty of extended security updates or SAN management. Instead, they can dedicate their time to tasks that are of higher value to your organization. So now that you know what Azure VMware Solution is, I'm going to pass it back to Liam to demonstrate just how easy it is to deploy AVS in a private cloud. Back to you, Liam.
Thanks, Brett. Let's get started with a private cloud deployment. When you enter the Azure portal, go to the upper search bar and type in Azure VMware Solution. This will bring you to the product page where you'll be able to create a new resource. Click Create. Next, you'll see a few of the prerequisites, such as logging a support request to allocate hosts. You'll need to do this before you can move on to the next step. Since I've already been allocated hosts, I can move on to the basic step where I'll be able to select the Azure subscription, AVS dog food, then choose a location. Azure VMware Solution has 33 regions worldwide, more than any other VMware cloud offering. After reviewing my options, I'll select North Europe. And after selecting the location, I can go ahead and select or create a new resource group. In this case, I will create a new one and call it AVS Private Cloud, then select OK. Within the resource group, I will name the resource AVS Private Cloud. Then I'll select the size of the host and choose the AV36 node since it is the most widely available hardware option. Lastly, I'll enter the IP address I plan to use for the private cloud cluster management and click Next. This will bring me to a page where I can tag the hosts and make them easier to find in the Azure portal. I'll skip this step. And finally, I'll land on the Review and Create page where I'll be able to review terms, selected settings, and private cloud details. I'll then click Create. Now the deployment has been submitted, will process, and will eventually complete. That's so easy. Next, let's set up a private cloud connectivity. Here you can see the private cloud deployment has succeeded. You will notice Azure VMware Solution is directly integrated into the Azure portal like all other Azure services. Now we need to establish network connectivity for the private cloud. Over in the Azure Blade, under Manage, select Connectivity. In this section, we've streamlined building a virtual network and creating the subnets which are needed for the AVS private cloud to connect to the Azure backbone. We are defining the virtual network address space and then configuring the default subnet and the gateway subnet details. When this process completes, the AVS private cloud has been connected to the Azure backbone. Now that we have the private cloud connected to the Azure backbone and AVS can speak with all other Azure services, we need to establish connectivity between the AVS private cloud and the on-premises environment via ExpressRoute Global Reach. To do this, we will flip to the ExpressRoute Global Reach tab and select the Add button. Here you will be able to put in the circuit ID of the on-premises ExpressRoute and the authorization key for that ExpressRoute. As a quick note, there are ways to establish on-premise connectivity to sites which have VPN and/or SD-WAN, but that is out of scope for this demo. Now we will see that the state has changed to connected, and the AVS private cloud has connectivity back to the on-premise environment. Finally, to streamline the deployment of add-on services for AVS, we are continually integrating those service deployments into the Azure portal. Here we see an example of that. To deploy any of these services, you will select the Get Started button, provide some minimal information, agree with the terms and conditions, and click Install. In just a few quick steps, you will have deployed the service to the Azure VMware Solution private cloud. And that's how easy it is to deploy Azure VMware Solution and get started. Back to you, Brett.
So far we've discussed Azure VMware Solution and demonstrated its ease of migration. Now let's explore how our VMware Rapid Migration program can really assist you. We have a range of new offers and extended licensing benefits designed to make your decision-making process easier. We have lock-in pricing discounts. We're currently offering a 20% discount on the one-year reserved instance. This is a limited time offer valid until December 31st of this year. Additionally, customers can lock in their pricing and discounts for 1, 3, or even 5 years. Customers can save with existing licensing benefits. We honor your existing investments through programs like the Azure Hybrid Benefit. This allows you to use your on-premises Windows and SQL Server licenses with Azure at no additional cost. Plus, you can get up to 3 years of free security updates for Windows Server and SQL Server 2012. Customers can get migration assistance. Our Azure Migrate program provides comprehensive resources and potential funding opportunities to streamline your migration process. If you're ready to modernize with Azure, for any new migration, we're offering a one-time $120,000 incentive in Azure credits. Plus, if you're transitioning from Azure VMware Solution to an Azure Infrastructure as a Service or Platform as a Service offering, you can refund and exchange your AVS reserved instances. We're also excited to announce an additional option for the Azure VMware Solution. If you've recently renewed your contract with Broadcom, I have great news for you. We fully support subscriptions to the VMware Cloud Foundation solution in AVS. This means that if you have existing licenses for VMware Cloud Foundation, or if you've recently purchased them, you'll be able to utilize these licenses not only on Azure VMware Solution, but also within your own data center. This flexibility allows you to adapt and respond efficiently to your evolving business needs. License portability provides an additional purchase option for Azure VMware Solution. As it stands, you can acquire the solution with VMware licenses included. This has been a popular choice for many of our customers. We want to assure you that this option will continue to be available for any customers who prefer to purchase their Azure VMware Solutions licenses as part of their solution from Microsoft. Over the next year, we plan to expand the suite of VMware products available in Azure, including ARIA. As we transition to full VMware Cloud Foundation, this will become available to all AVS customers. Now, throughout this session, I've emphasized our unwavering commitment to Azure VMware Solution. Let's take a moment to review some of the key areas where we've focused our efforts in the past year. Geographic expansion has been a big one. We've launched Azure VMware Solution in 10 new regions, spanning from our US Gov data center in Arizona to our United Arab Emirates data center and even in India. This expansion allows us to serve a broader range of customers around the globe. We've made many product enhancements. We've reduced the AV64 node side for Azure VMware Solution, providing more power, native network connectivity, and flexibility for your workloads. We've also launched new products like Pure Cloud Block Storage integration for AVS and the VMware Cloud Director service for AVS Enterprise. We're excited about the progress we made and look forward to what the future holds here. I've highlighted our expansion into 10 new regions over the past year, but it's really important to underscore that Azure VMware Solution boasts a presence in more global cloud data centers than any other VMware cloud. In fact, Microsoft provides Azure VMware Solution in 33 out of Azure's 60+ regions around the world. This extensive geographic coverage is crucial for our customers so that they can make sure that they have the product where they need it. It allows them to place Azure workloads in data centers within their own country, which is often a requirement to comply with data sovereignty regulations. Moreover, having a local presence can significantly reduce network latency, providing a smoother and more efficient experience for users and operations in a data center. Our commitment to enhancing Azure VMware Solution continues to be demonstrated by the rapid expansion of our technology partnerships. These collaborations enable us to address 4 critical business use cases of AVS. Storage, we've partnered with industry leaders like NetApp and Pure Storage to provide robust and efficient storage solutions. Disaster recovery. We've ensured reliable disaster recovery solutions through collaborations with Jetstream, Rivermeadow, Zerto, and VMware SRM. These partnerships help provide a safety net for your data and ensure business continuity. And data protection. Data is the lifeblood of any organization, and its protection is paramount. We've teamed up with Cohesity, Commvault, Dell EMC, Rubrik, Veeam, and Veritas to offer a comprehensive set of data protection solutions. Virtual desktops, in collaboration with Citrix, we provide efficient virtual desktop solutions enabling seamless remote work experiences. Now, these partnerships not only enhance the capabilities of Azure VMware Solution, but empower your business to operate more efficiently and securely. Next, we have the honor of welcoming our distinguished guest, Neil Smith. Neil serves as the Deputy Chief Information Officer for the state of Alaska. Let's now transition to the conversation I had with Neil earlier in the studio. Hey Neil, well, thanks for coming out today. It's great to be able to meet you in person and kind of talk about the great work that's happening at the state of Alaska.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great. One of the things we want to talk about is your role at the state of Alaska, how long you've been there, and kind of what you do day to day.
Okay, yeah, so I'm the Deputy CIO at the state of Alaska. My primary role is cloud adoption over the last 4.5 years. And then one of my other roles is also ensuring that Azure and different AI tools are available to the employees and the departments of the state.
Wow, amazing. So, we were talking, you said you've been doing this for almost 30 years, kind of your career in IT. That's amazing. You've seen a lot of change, just like I have. Pretty amazing.
All in the state, yeah.
So we've heard the state of Alaska is making a very large push into cloud services. What's the main driver for this? What success are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so our governor is making a really big push on cloud adoption. And so the big driver behind it is to reduce on-premise risk. And so for the past couple of years, the governor funded a large project for the state of Alaska. And so the scope was we are to assess every server in the state of Alaska in the executive branch and to move everything that can technically move. And we're supposed to do this with a minimum impact on the department staff. We're supposed to do this by meeting all compliance requirements. That's what we've actually been working on. And so we just wrapped that up within the last month. And the success we've seen so far is 64% of all of our servers have met the primary objective. They've either been standard migrated, rapid migrated, or actually shut down. 15% of the servers are remaining on-premise for business continuity purposes. And we see about 21% of the servers that have a little bit of a longer requirements that we have to be able to meet, whether that be bandwidth that still has to be able to come to some of the remote locations, or whether there's some extra compliance requirements that we have to be able to meet before we can actually migrate those.
Wow, so you've moved thousands of servers, and it sounds like you've set yourself up for good long-term success, kind of given those changes. That's pretty amazing. What do you think were the key ingredients that contributed to the success overall of the project?
Thank you for asking me that. There's I definitely want to, there's a technical reason and a non-technical reason that really significantly contributed to our success. And the first one is executive support. Our governor, Mike Dunleavy, he was the one who actually initiated this. And so he actually set the priority. So there was the funding, and then there was the executive priority to actually be able to do that. Prior to this big project, we had CARES money and we had a cloud landing zone, and we were actually trying to get to the cloud, but it was not an executive priority. And so we had the money, we had the time, but we didn't get a lot of adoption. However, once the governor got behind it and set it actually as a priority, and he came down, he actually made it really clear that all the departments would participate, and he went so far as to say, we're not buying any more on-premise hardware. So we're going to the cloud and we're going all in. And so that executive support was significant from what we saw before and after. And so to be able to have that, I mean, there's so many competing priorities at the state, and I'm sure every state has it, every business has it. And when you have that executive support, you get that prioritization. And once you have the prioritization, then people are allowed to say no to other things and participate in there.
Wow, it sounds like he really set you up for success.
He did. There's a number of stars that had to align for the state of Alaska to be successful. That was definitely one of them that actually had to be there. The other one was a technical solution that actually came to us that we participated in, and this was the Azure VMware Solutions. Mm-hmm. So on-premise, we were a VMware shop. And so when we went to the cloud, we actually found the Azure VMware Solutions tool that allowed us, and this was kind of the magic sauce that helped us the most. We were able to take our on-premise, we were able to take our servers and be able to move them to the cloud without making any changes to them. We can move without even shutting them down. We can actually live migrate them to the cloud. So this was super important because the application support teams didn't have to recode or rechange anything or rename or re-IP anything. We were able to just move the servers while they were running. So super low impact on the departments there. So that was monumental as far as we couldn't have been able to do it without that. Otherwise, it would have taken up so much staff time to be able to move those servers.
Well, I bet you got a lot of good feedback from those departments after it was done. Did anybody come and tell you, I didn't even know it happened? Right.
To me, that's actually the ultimate compliment in the IT world, because usually you only get a call when things are broke. And so if somebody moves it, and we actually did get some of that. And so over my career, that's been kind of the compliment is you make a change and they go, wow, you guys just did that? I didn't know that. And it's like, yes, now we know we got it right.
Great. Well, sounds like you had good executive support and the right solution, but what are some of the challenges you encountered during the process?
A couple of big challenges that we had to deal with. As you know, Alaska is quite a ways away.
Yeah.
And so the question that always comes to mind is latency. Are you too far away from the data centers or actually things like that? So Alaska, between Anchorage and one of the data centers in California, that's 2,000 miles away. Now, that's actually the same distance between East Coast and West Coast. So that's like moving your servers from East Coast to West Coast or West Coast to East Coast and back, and can you do that? And so there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that comes out there, and people say you can't do that with that type of a latency. So that's one of the solutions that we actually figured out, was that as long as you move the front-end web server and the back-end database server together, you can move them thousands of miles away. And it'll be no different than you sitting on your tablet or your laptop, browsing on a web page that's hosted on the other side of the world. So we were able to take a front-end web server and a back-end SQL server while it was running, synchronizing it, and cut it over 2,000 miles without shutting it down, without breaking a session. So I'm sitting here watching the server go over, and it dropped one ping packet, and the sessions kept going. So that latency, we had to solve for that. Lots of doubt up front. But probably one of the things I'm most excited about is that people, when they think about cloud adoption or they think about doing these innovative things, is that they have a lot of doubt in their mind and they have all these preconceived notions or misinformation or whatever it is. And for us to be able to find these solutions and to show people and to prove, like, look, you can do it. You can actually get past a lot of that misinformation.
I love that because really you're highlighting some of the strengths about Azure, right? It's an Azure VMware Solution product that we really built to work very well natively in the cloud, using SQL Server, synchronizing it across our data centers, and making it all work seamlessly for the good of the customers of the state of Alaska. That's just an amazing story. So what else did you encounter?
Compliance. That's another one of those obstacles that we just hear a lot of concern about. It's like, we can't go to the cloud because we have sensitive information on our network. At the state of Alaska, we have federal tax information, so we've got IRS information we have to deal with. Our public safety officers and corrections have IRS or FBI data rather, so criminal justice information, CJIS information. Some of our Department of Health has Medicare, Medicaid information. So fairly sensitive type information that we have, and there's lots of controls around it. And so for the longest time, people used to think that you can only go to GovCloud, or we couldn't go to the cloud at all because of that. So that's another one of those things that we really looked into, really dug into, used some Microsoft professional services to try to solve this and say, what is there in the industry that we can actually use to help us work on this. So we actually discovered something called customer managed keys. So this is where you can take a product and encrypt the keys, whether it be something that's at rest or in transit. And once you encrypt it, you hold the encryption keys or the decryption keys. So as far as where our data is, in this case, it's in the Microsoft Commercial Cloud. We have IRS data, we have FBI data, we have Medicare, Medicaid information data that's sitting in Commercial Cloud. We hold all the encryption keys. We just went through an audit, and so far things are actually going well for us. So this is one of those solutions that I know is a big deal for the industry. We didn't have to set up a whole separate landing zone or separate connectivity, but being able to put this sensitive data in the commercial cloud in a responsible way, where we do the encryption and we're all transparent with all the compliance of the federal agencies, that's huge, that's significant, and that's gonna be one of the solutions that's gotta be valuable for other people.
Yeah, it's so important in this day and age for people to feel like their data is safe and feel like they've got privacy around their data, but also for organizations like yourself to be able to manage the security of data without having to worry about it every day. So it's really, and I think customer managed keys is just one example of the things that we do in Azure to make sure that any data you bring to the cloud can be safe, sometimes safer than it can be on premise, because you've got your company and our company leaning in together to protect that data for customers. And so that's amazing.
Not well known, but that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge, yeah.
You know, so one of the things we were talking about earlier is that, you know, you had 100 reasons to fail, but no excuses. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that and talk about how kind of having that growth mindset contributed to your success?
Yeah, so even if you have a governor that supports cloud migration, and even though it's actually funded, and even though you have all the technology that can actually support it, you're still going to run into problems. At least we experienced. We still ran into problems. We still ran into stuff that we actually didn't think that was actually going to happen. We had to go into it with that mindset of, you know what, we're going to have all these problems, but we're not going to make any excuses. We need to solve forward. If we have a problem, we just solve the problem by actually getting it, up and into the cloud. If you don't go into a cloud migration with that mindset, you will take any one of those reasons to fail, and you will use that as an excuse not to. They're going to pop up, but if you are going with that mindset of, I'm going to push through this, I'm going to actually find a solution for that. So we went in with that mindset, and we were able to solve many problems by going forward. So yes, there's going to be hundreds of reasons to fail. Don't take any of those as excuses, and be able to actually push through that. So one of the things that probably surprised me the most about this cloud migration was actually a non-technical piece. So yes, there's a technical challenge, and can you migrate thousands of miles and do all this, live migrate and all this other thing. But the part that I probably didn't see coming, that I had to make the biggest adjustment was the people. Just because the governor says go to the cloud doesn't mean everybody is automatically, mentally and emotionally and gung-ho on board. We had to deal with a lot of pushback. I call it fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's FUD. You're going to get that. You're going to get that pushback there, and so being able to lean into that, have some type of a solution that's going to be able to counteract the misinformation. You have to have facts, and you have to be consistent, and you have to just be work on that. We actually ended up, to be able to get through some of that, you're not going to convince everybody at once. So one of the things we had to do is just go with the momentum. Go with the people that are willing, start solving the problems, get them information out there, get people going on, and then people continually come on board. We actually had a department, this is right up front when we were ready to start doing this cloud migration. They go, we're not really sure that the cloud is mature yet, so we would like to support the governor, but we would like to go last. Right? And so you can just see that uncertainty and doubt that was there, and for us to have to be able to push through that and be able to give people solutions and help them get past that. I think that's probably the thing that I'm probably the most excited about here and now, is to be able to push through those mental limitations that people have. And we have examples of doing it, whether it be compliance or latency or, hey, can you lack of staff, and how do we move stuff with our lack of staff? We proved it, we did it. And so, that's a really great story for people who are looking at this. And so that's probably the thing I'm probably most excited about is helping with that.
Amazing. It seems like such a very Alaskan thing to go do, is to push into the new frontier and bring everybody along with you. It seems like such an important thing. And I think you're right. Like if you guys had confidence, and so you proved it out. You built the data to prove that it would be possible. You had good plans, and then you didn't tell everybody. You just showed them that it can work, and they were able to get confidence. That's really amazing. Did you have any potential, or did you have any pitfalls or gotchas that you might kind of share with others who are going to go through the same experience?
Yeah, there was the other part that we didn't see coming was the current state of our network and just not having a lot of the documentation around that. We went through this routine as every time we migrated, it would be the discovery, plan, and migrate, discovery, plan, migrate. And it was that discovery phase where we're a state organization, so we've been around a long time, not like some younger commercial companies, but as a state organization, we had just a lot of technology, and it's been around a long time. So trying to get through that discovery phase and being able to find the servers, tie them to the applications so that we can bundle them together so you didn't move something and break something else there. We got into that. We thought it was going to go rather rapidly. And once we got in there and started doing the discovery, we found out we actually had to talk to people because there was no documentation in place. We had so much tribal knowledge that the only way to get through that was actually do the documentation. So getting in the middle of that, we started doing those discoveries there. We started going in, tagging all the applications and servers. We said, okay, we did one pass. How did we do? you still have 900 servers that nobody claimed. It's like, who do these belong to? How do they actually go through that? So getting through that phase there, that ended up taking more time. We got like 5 months into this project. We're in the middle of a rapid cloud migration project. We got 5 months into it, and we had like one test server that we had migrated to prove the infrastructure was there, but we had to do so much discovery. But once you got the discovery, and once we knew exactly what we were doing, then it was like every 2 weeks we were moving hundreds of servers every 2 weeks. So during that first phase of addressing 900 servers, it all moved in like 3 months.
I hear that story over and over again for customers. Once they get into the process of actually doing the migration and they get to it causes them to really take stock of what they have in their environment. But once they get through that, things move fast and they start to see the results. It's really amazing.
Be patient up front with that. Give yourself some time. And so hopefully, leadership and everyone else will see we're doing a rapid cloud migration, but we'll give us some time to get things organized.
And I love it that you really, I love what you said about having kind of designing an environment for migration up front. That's how you proved out all the technical feasibility. And so that was your recipe. And once you have the recipe and you know where all of the other pieces are, then it's just a matter of go, go, go. I love that.
And if somebody else wants to, is looking to do something like this as well, that was the other piece, the kind of the lessons learned there. Prior to the rapid cloud migration, we had the state of Alaska entered into a digital alliance with Microsoft. And so Microsoft had invested in the state and helped us come in and set up a landing zone. So helped us build the governance, set up the landing zone. And that takes time because a lot of it culturally, your teams have to get on board. You have to understand your networking, your dedicated circuits, your express routes, et cetera. So that was something that it's a good thing we had done that in advance. I mean, minimally, that's going to take you 9 months to a year to get that all worked out and your team's on board. So had we not done that at the time of the rapid migration, that would have added a year to our project. But back up, reverse, we'd done that all in advance. It was sitting there, it was just waiting for us. So that was probably one of those stars that aligned that super helped us.
Awesome. Now, after you got it done, how does the cost look? What do you see kind of as the cost compared to running your solutions in AVS on the cloud versus running VMware on premises? That's the big topic on most VMware users, of most VMware users' minds today. So
I think that was one of the early concerns that all popped up was, is the savings really in the cloud? The cloud's been around for, over a decade now and probably two and pushing it in some areas. So that conversation came up frequently. And there's a couple of ways to answer that. And if you just do an apples to apples comparison, so if you go right down to here's the server and here's the storage and here's the compute and this is what what does it actually cost in cloud native versus AVS or versus on premise. If you get right down to it and do a very small apples to apples comparison, there certainly is. We actually demonstrated the savings that showed up in the Gartner research. Is like there's a 20% savings on that if you're just looking at that server. But I think what people are more interested in is what's the total cost of ownership, and this is where I'm going to challenge people. I'm going to challenge people that I don't believe that they understand what their total cost of ownership is on premise. I will challenge them. They kind of know what their servers are, they know what they're paying, but they're not thinking of all the costs and the cooling and the infrastructure and their current risks that they're dealing with on premise that they're accepting simply because they're used to them. So I'm going to turn around and say, in order to do an actual cost of comparison between what you're doing on premise and what you're doing and the cost of your service in the cloud, that's a value conversation. And if you're going to have a value conversation, you have to do one of two things. You either have to find a cloud that has the same risks and infrastructure that you have on premise, so you have to find a cloud that's as bad as you're doing it on premise or has the same risks, or you have to build your on premise with the same features and values and capabilities as in the cloud and then do a total cost of ownership comparison.
It's true. Like people very often they do think they know their costs and they have control of their costs. But when you look at the value proposition of running it in the cloud, I've got massively large teams of people running my data centers. I buy hardware in bulk. I have, teams of organizations around the world 24/7 operating it at scale. And so, there's just a bunch of inherent efficiencies that come from running it in scale, provided that I can give each and every customer the experience that they need. And I think, so when you talk about TCO, it's all of that kind of rolled in together for the organization.
But back to that reason of, the main reason for the state's cloud migration was to reduce on-premise risk. And that on-premise risk, there's a lot of inherent risks there with the infrastructure and a lot of things. There's just add value. Once you get to the cloud, there's a certain amount of value there.
Amazing. Well, tell us why you chose Azure. As you just said, you had to pick a cloud. Tell us why you chose Azure for hosting your cloud service.
Yeah, going to the cloud was to reduce on-premise risk. We were a Microsoft shop, so it made a lot of sense for us to do our lift and shift to Azure. Our state governance, and we actually have other services that are multi-cloud, so Azure wasn't the only one, but it made a ton of sense to do the infrastructure as a service and to do the Azure VMware Solutions, primarily because of that seamless transition that we could actually make. That was big. That was the only way that we're going to do the buy-in. That's the only way we're going to meet that requirement to not impact departments and to do that particular overhead to be able to do that. So there was a technology play on that one there. Also, we're in Alaska. So there's a geopolitical and a geographic reason on why we actually moved to the cloud. I'm not going to speak for the governor or put any words in his mouth. You know, he just said we're going to reduce on-premise risk. But as everybody knows now, this actually proven itself over the last few years that all wars have a cyber element to that. And if we're in Alaska, we're an Arctic nation, so we're up there competing with the other Arctic nations. I don't know if you knew this, but the ice on the North Pole is melting enough during the summer that cruise ships can now go over the North Pole. Instead of having to go down through the Panama Canal, you can now go from west coast of America over the North Pole and get over to Europe that way. So now it's becoming, a waterway up there. So as an Arctic nation, as United States, there's a geopolitical reason for us to put our services in an environment where we can defend them. There's only so much fiber that goes to Alaska. There's only so much infrastructure we can invest in that environment. And if all of a sudden China or Russia becomes interested in Alaska or doesn't want to, or wants to take our services down, we're less capable to defend ourselves on premise than we are in some type of a world-class data center there.
Amazing. So it's really for the citizens of Alaska, it's every great thing you do with Microsoft at your back and Microsoft Azure. That's pretty amazing, actually, to think about it that way. And it's, with our recent pandemic experience and things like that, there are reasons really to think about coming into one of those situations where you're going to need the benefits of a big provider like Microsoft standing shoulder to shoulder with you. That's amazing.
Also, fiber to Alaska. I mean, that's we only had marine fiber up until a couple of years ago. We've only had the only fiber to Alaska was marine fiber or high orbit satellite. So I think there's recently within the last couple of years there's now a terrestrial fiber that comes down through Canada, and we now have low orbit satellite. But every year or every couple of years, the fiber cuts to our capital in Juneau. And all of a sudden, all of our servers in Juneau, all of a sudden those services are not available to the rest of the citizens throughout the state of Alaska. So that's a geographic reason, and it gets cut for earthquakes or fishermen or whatever else are actually cutting it. So now with our services in the cloud, if that fiber gets cut, okay, Juneau, they'll come back online as soon as they come back online, but at least everybody else in the rest of the state can get to state services.
Amazing, that's great. So now you've done it, you're almost all done. So how has having your Azure VMware Solutions and the workloads running on it in the cloud impacted the state of Alaska's ability to go innovate and take advantage of things like AI and so on and so forth?
This is something that I don't think we could have planned better had we had a crystal ball. There's just, I mean, that's the point of innovation, is you don't see it coming. All you do is you just put yourself in a position where you can innovate. And in this case, AI, that's something that was coming along. One of the other benefits that we went to the cloud we inherited was all of a sudden we had immutable backups, that was something we didn't have on premise. That's the number one defense, against ransomware. Mm-hmm. In this case, once we got to the cloud, we now have proximity. For the servers that are in the cloud, they now have immutable backups, and they're right next to all the AI tools. Because Microsoft's partnership with GPT and making the tools available, those tools have been in there for over a year. And now we're going through the same processes that we had to work on and work through with getting people to do cloud adoption and dealing with the FUD. We're going through the exact same thing with the AI tools and getting past the misinformation and all the hype and getting people to, materially see the benefit of the AI tools. But we're super excited to have our data right next to the AI tools. And again, our governor has adopted or, verbally said, hey, we're going to promote adoption of Azure, of AI and other AI AI tools to be able to help citizens. So real excited about this opportunity and working with the Microsoft team and partners to build and leverage those.
Great. Well, I'm sure that you'll be able to kind of scale the AI frontier just like you scaled the infrastructure migration tier. It's great stuff. Thanks for coming today, Neil.
Looking forward to it. No excuses.
Thanks.
It's truly inspiring to see how our products are solving complex problems for our customers. Each migration indeed presents a unique opportunity for innovation. And as you shift the gravity of your IT infrastructure, you're not just moving things around. You're transforming the way your business operates. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, what else is available in Azure to support the other priorities across your team? Brett, let's hear about some of these other services.
Sure. One of the key benefits of migrating VMware workloads to Azure is the ability to run your applications business logic on AVS VMs and your database on SQL managed instances or services like Oracle Database at Azure. By migrating to SQL MI, you can leverage scalability, high availability, and the security features of Azure. If you choose to use Oracle Database at Azure, you get to go move your existing Oracle Database solutions right into Azure data centers. This reduces the management overhead associated with the traditional database management deployments and allows you to focus more on your business logic and less on database administration. In both scenarios, you'll benefit from the proximity of your workloads running on AVS and services running in Azure, which help to minimize any latency for your applications. Plus, you'll have access to integrated tools and services in Azure to enhance your application development and deployment processes. As you migrate your VMware workloads to Azure, you should also consider Azure Virtual Desktop. It provides remote access of Windows 11 and 10, full control over virtual desktop management, and benefits from Azure's security, scalability, reliability, and security. Plus, it allows for cost-effective optimization with features like Windows 11 multi-session. You're only charged for the resources you use, making it a leading solution for your distributed workforces, virtual desktop experiences. And finally, Azure offers a wide range of services that can enhance your applications and processes. These include the Azure OpenAI service, API management, IoT Hub, Logic Apps, cognitive services, bot services, and automation. Each of these services provide unique capabilities that can help you optimize your applications, automate processes, and leverage AI in innovative ways. In addition to these, Azure also offers a suite of data services such as Microsoft Graph, Azure SQL DB, Cosmos DB, Azure Data Lake, Fabric, and Data Factory. These services provide robust data management and analytics capabilities, enabling you to gain insights from your data and make data-driven decisions. So by migrating to Azure VMware Solution, you can seamlessly integrate these services into your applications. This not only enhances the capability of your applications, but also provides opportunities for innovation. To learn more about how you can leverage the power of AI to gain insights from your data and create more efficient and intelligent applications, check out Joe Sarabia's session coming up after this keynote. I realize that even with the recommended migration path, many customers will need to leave something behind. According to the 2023 Flexera State of the Cloud report, 72% of organizations employ a hybrid cloud strategy, and that will likely continue to going forward. This highlights the importance of taking an adaptive cloud approach. If you have workloads that must remain on premises, we offer two unique solutions that stand out from other on-premise services. Our goal with these on-premise options is not to replace your data center, but to provide solutions that function effectively at the edge, bringing Azure services to your on-premise environment. For VMware workloads that need to stay on premises, Azure Arc for VMware vSphere offers an extendable solution. It enhances VMware vSphere environments with Azure's robust security, governance, and management features, and also enables self-service access for VMware vSphere resources, facilitating full virtual machine lifecycle operations through Azure. For specific on-premise scenarios where cloud migration isn't feasible, but there's a desire to transition away from VMware, even if it involves refactoring, Azure Stack HCI is a great solution. Azure Arc connects across these options, providing a common management plane that supports innovation everywhere with consistent development, operations, and security. So after you've minimized your VMware footprint, you can enjoy the same management and security on premises that you've already gotten in the cloud. Stay tuned to learn more about these options from Sriram in one of the upcoming sessions. So we've covered a lot today, so what key points do I want to leave you with? Azure is the optimal cloud solution for your VMware workloads. We offer a diverse portfolio of options allowing you to migrate and customize your strategy according to your business needs. I encourage you to seize these limited time offers before the year ends and take your first steps towards VMware solutions in the cloud with AVS. It's been a real pleasure, folks. Thank you for the time. Now I'll hand it back over to Liam. Back to you, Liam.
It's great to see all the options that we have for our customers. And speaking of options, we have 5 sessions coming up next. And if you've been eagerly awaiting technical how-to content, then you'll really want to stick around. Following this keynote, you'll be able to break out to the session of your choice, and we will have experts online for the next hour to answer any questions that you have. After that, you'll be able to watch any of the other sessions as they will continue to be available on demand. But that's not all. I also invite you to explore our newest learning resources, including the Azure VMware Solution Microsoft Learn Challenge. In this challenge, you'll learn about Azure VMware Solution, how to deploy the resource, and how to migrate VMware virtual machines from on-premises to Azure. In completing this challenge, you'll earn a digital badge demonstrating and showcasing your proficiency in Azure VMware Solution, which you can display on your LinkedIn, as well as a chance to win an exclusive meeting with a Microsoft executive. You can also explore our brand new Azure VMware Solutions skilling plan on Microsoft Learn, which features a set of organized content with milestones that lead to specific learning outcomes. With this plan, you can learn how to get started on your VMware cloud migration journey and leverage these resources to kickstart your VMware cloud migration. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. Until next time.